Network Plus. It's all in the name and it all starts here to welcome you to this brand new release of Network Plus. I still remember back in the 80s when I first started with networking, it was exciting and I loved it. Now, here in the 21st century, computer networks are faster and they're still very, very exciting, and I still love it. And as I think back to those days, the early days, I didn't learn all the stuff I learned on my own. I had some amazing mentors, people that I will be eternally grateful to, that took me aside and said, this is how this works, and this is how that works. And it was fantastic. So who is this course made for? I made this course for you, and I'm volunteering to be your mentor. If you are in one of 4 categories, this Network Plus video series from CBT Nuggets is for you. Number 1, maybe you're brand new to networking and you just need somebody to walk you through step by step how all the pieces fit together. Build a foundation and then increase on that foundation and make sure that you understand all the pieces. So if you're brand new to networking, this is for you. Secondly, maybe you've been in the field for a while. Maybe you've been at the help desk or you've been a server administrator and you'd like to branch off a little further into the world of network technician, maybe be a network designer or network troubleshooter, maybe get a Cisco certification or Juniper certification or some other vendor. This also is for you. If you have some of those holes in your knowledge you need filled up, some gaps that you'd like to have better understanding for, this Network Plus series will help assist you in filling those gaps and making you confident and providing you that rock solid foundation that you're going to need and want to be successful in your career. The other 2 categories would be management of some type. If you're a manager or owner of a small business and you have technicians or individuals that work under you, you definitely want to make sure you have a basic foundation of knowledge so you can understand when they're talking to you. And when they propose something, you can ask better questions. And if you're purchasing products from vendors, you can have better questions and make better judgments for them. And the last category would be somebody who just wants to have a good time. I have a great time as I talk with you in every single nugget. So if you just want to have a good time, you can pick virtually any of the nuggets in this series, turn it on, and you or I are off to the races to have a fantastic time. So what exactly is covered in the new latest greatest Network Plus, which is what we're talking about? And that is a fantastic question. And to answer that, I would have us go to a website. And here's the website I'd have us go to. It's CompTIA.org. So this is an example of CompTIA.org. And I'd like you to do this. After this video is done, or if you want to pause me right now and just go do it real quick, CompTIA.org, if you hover over here, Get Certified, and you go down to Network Plus, it's going to bring up the Network Plus information. There's the current exam certification number for it. And if you click over here to see what the exam covers, they're going to ask you for a first name and an email. And they're also going to ask you, what do you want to know about? If you click CompTIA Network Plus, you click Get Exam Objectives, they're going to give you a wonderful PDF that looks like this. And this PDF, I would like you to have in your possession. I'd like you to be aware of it. Why? Why do I want to have this? Because it's going to show you all the objectives that are expected to be learned by someone who is Network Plus certified, someone who's demonstrated the skills and ability that the Network Plus certification is calling for. So here's the 5 major domains of what they're going to be asking about and making sure that you're comfortable with. And then it has details on every single one, starting with the Osi Reference Model. This is objectives 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 for IP addressing. And what I've done in the Nugget series is I've followed the exam objectives. So I've made it logical so you can jump into this network training and understand everything as we go together through it. And it also follows the blueprint. So if you wanted to say, you know what, Keith, I want to focus on IP addressing. It's always confused me. You have the IP address, it's 32 bits, there's a mask involved, there's subnets. How does all that work? You could jump right to 1.3 in the Nugget series and go at it. Now, as a homework assignment, get this document from CompTIA.org and make sure you have it so you can reference it if you need to. So we're going to follow the blueprint from CompTIA step by step. We've organized the actual nuggets that way. And as we continue in our journey through the world of networking together, you and I will discover how IP addressing works, how the TCP/IP protocol stack compares to the Osi Reference Model, what is a virtual private network, a VPN, what's a VLAN, how does IPsec versus SSL compare to each other, what's the software and hardware involved, the world of virtualization, wireless, and much, much more. So let's focus for a moment on how you can get the absolute most out of the series and optimize your time, because I realize time is a critical thing. The first thing I'd do is I would allocate the time to go ahead and go through the nuggets. It's been scientifically proven that if you are not listening to a nugget, you are very unlikely to learn from that specific nugget. Are you with me? So make a time that you and I can be together to go through the basic concepts and discuss and demonstrate the technologies as we learn them together. Because I'm going to be demoing virtually everything that we talk about to reinforce those concepts. The second thing I would have you do is I would have you do hands-on. Hands-on practice is one of the best ways to reinforce a concept. Now, what if you don't have a whole rack of equipment? That is not a problem, because what you do have is you have very likely a Windows PC or a Macintosh or a Linux box of some type. Regardless of which one of those three that you primarily use, there's a lot of hands-on that we can do right at the command line of those operating systems, and I will walk you through step by step. So for example, if we said, hey, how do I find out what the IP address is? We don't have to wait. If I say go ahead and launch ipconfig right now from a command line, you can do it right then with me. We can verify the results. You can pause me if you need to, and we can continue on. Second thing, or actually third thing, there's one, there's two, there's three. The third thing is teach others. What do you mean, Keith, teach others? Well, what I would strongly recommend you do is I would recommend you keep notes. So as you and I are discussing whatever the topic is for the day, let's say it's Tuesday and you join me for the world of switching or routing or access control lists or IPv6 or whatever it happens to be in our Nugget series together, I'd like you to take notes. So just on a spiral notebook, make notes of what we talked about, and then I'd like you to teach others. That is a fantastic way to increase your knowledge. I find personally that if I teach somebody else the content or try to teach somebody else the content, that's the moment I realize I need to revisit this. I need to revisit this and refresh my knowledge, or I teach it in such a way that I think, you know what, I actually get this. And the last part is I'd ask you to commit. I'd like you to commit to a date when you're going to take your certification exam. Maybe it's 2 months out, maybe it's 3 months out, but here's what you're going to do. Go ahead and look at your calendar, find out what life commitments you have, and then take a look at the videos, how long they are and how many there are. There's a boatload of them, and they're all great. And plan on every day or maybe a couple a day going through the videos, or a couple hours a day going through the videos, so that you can finish all of them and have time to review your notes and go back to maybe one or two that you want to revisit before you go take your certification. So commit to a date. And here's what I learned. Somebody wiser than me told me this. They said, Keith, if you don't commit to something in public, you're not really serious about it. I said, no, I'm serious. I really want to do this. And she said to me, well, why don't you put it on Facebook then? Why don't you tell the world what you're going to do, and then if you don't do it, you'll have the world to go ahead and face. And I thought, wow, that's like negative pressure. And she said, yes, it is. So what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to commit to a date for Network Plus. And I'd like you to share that date with someone. It doesn't have to be me. If you want to, you can go up. I have a Facebook page. It's called Keith Barker Networking. And you can go up there and say, Keith, I'm committed to my Network Plus exam in this month of this year. You don't have to give me a specific date. You can go ahead and just give me a month. And that way, I can look at it and I can, follow up. And here's why that works. Having the pressure, people often do things for one of two reasons. Number one, they want to get some benefit out of it, or they want to avoid pain. So they're going for the positive or avoiding the negative. So individuals who accomplish their goals, statistically, get there because of one of three things. Number one, they think how great it's going to be once they accomplish it. And just think, when you look back on this course that you went through with me, and it's like 10 years from now, and you're looking back with fond memories of how it all started and where you're at now, you're going to be amazed, and it's going to be great. So number one, you can imagine how fantastic it's going to be to accomplish it. Number two, which isn't as good, you can think about the negative impact of doing nothing will have on your life. So you can think of, oh my gosh, if I just sit here, I'm going to be at this same job doing the same thing. I'm not going to progress unless I take some action. And that can be a motivator for some. And the third one that actually I use on a daily basis is I just don't think about it. What do you mean, Keith, you don't think about it? Well, let's say I've committed to exercise 3 times a week, which I have. And I posted on Facebook. So I've committed to exercise 3 times a week. And when it's my time to exercise, or I'm looking at the week and sometimes it's a little flexible, but I get 3 a week. And what if I don't feel like exercising? This happens all the time. Just to let you know, I think, well, you know what? I've been working hard all day. I really don't feel like exercising. I just don't think about it. I say, you know what? I need to exercise. I'm just going to go do it. And then once I start, guess what? I am totally good. I'm like 5 or 6 minutes into the exercise. I'm thinking, okay, I'm here, and I'm going to finish this 25-minute spin or whatever it is, and I finish it. So if you commit to the time and you say, you know what? I'm not going to think about whether or not I want to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Once you get in and you're starting to talk with me in the video nugget, in the video series, you'll be absolutely fine. So 3 strategies for getting stuff done. 1, think how great it's going to be. Number 2, don't think about how bad it's going to be if you don't. And third is not think about it at all. Set your goals and spend the time when you said you're going to do it on studying. One last item I'd like to encourage you to do, and that would be to take the courses, take the nuggets in order. You can always go back to any specific nugget you want for reinforcement, but here's why the order is important. We're going to start right here at 0, and we're going to go up here to hero, and we're going to do it in that order. And as we go, we're going to build our knowledge. So, for example, here we might learn about the OSI model. Here we might learn about the IP and IP addressing. Here we might start using protocol analyzers to actually take a look. And so if we were looking at a protocol analyzer, looking at IP addresses and maybe looking at TCP or UDP segments at layer 4, it's implied that we've already taken a look at the basics so we can leverage the advanced information. So I would take them in order. You don't have to, but that's my strong recommendation, is to start with 1.1 and work your all the way to the end 5.x. So what exactly have we talked about in this introduction to the Network Plus series? Number 1, the video series is made for you. Every single nugget that I put together, I did as if you were sitting right next to me. We're just sitting at a couple of computers. We're going through the technology, demonstrating everything as we go to make sure that you and I completely get it, that we understand each of the concepts as we build upon the previous concept. What's covered? Everything. Everything in the Network Plus official objectives is covered, and I threw in some additional tidbits here and there that I thought would be extremely valuable and useful for the real world as well, that can increase and reinforce those concepts. And how to get the most out of the series. It really boils down to, number one, finding the time to go through them. Take notes, teach others, and commit. If you commit publicly, you'll have more pressure and motivation to get it done. And I'll tell you what, those changes can change your life. It's not just a matter of learning some facts and details. We're talking about changing people's lives, and I mean you. I know this from my own personal experience. I have a couple CCIEs with Cisco, and I have Juniper certifications, and I have some HP certifications, and Palo, and et cetera, et cetera. And every time I apply myself just through steady, constant steps of learning and improving my skills, it has always, always paid off, and I know it'll do the same for you. I am super excited about joining you in every single one of these nuggets. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.